Hello everybody, how's it going? My name is Lan and welcome back to another new Limiteds video. Now I'm sure you guys have lots of questions as to where I've been. I have not uploaded for some time. I've been gone for about a month now, and a lot of you have been, some of you have been asking where I've been, and I'm gonna keep this long story short. If you want to skip over this part, me explaining why I've been gone and just rambling about a bunch of stuff, feel free to skip to this timestamp here to get into the actual material content of this video, which will obviously be talking about all these new limiteds and stuff like that came out of the Hunt Mega. I know I'm super late on reviewing all of these, but like I said, I've been super busy. I'm about to explain that in a second, so yeah, if you want to skip over all that just to see this, feel free to. But if you're still here and you want to listen to why I've been gone for so long, I'm gonna go ahead and explain that really quick, and I'm trying not to take up too much of your time. So long story short, I'm in the freaking military and I have a life outside of trading, so naturally things happen where I do not have time or motivation to make videos, and unfortunately I have to go do stuff. And when I do have time to make videos, I just want to kind of relax and enjoy and do stuff. Like I like playing Arsenal and stuff like that, but yeah, I just haven't had a lot of time lately to be able to do anything. Okay, back at work I've been being pestered with tons of things that I have to do, tons of things I have to fulfill, a bunch of work that I have to do, and so naturally I've been super exhausted. This entire month basically is what's been going on lately during a very important time in my career. So unfortunately I've not had either the time to trade. Well, I've been doing some trades, but I really haven't had the time or motivation to make a video, and so that's why it's been literally a month since I last uploaded. And my Scissor channel's still been uploading because I have scheduled videos on there, but I couldn't say the same about my main because I do not have any scheduled videos on there. And so yeah, as you can see, I've been sitting around like 6 mil. Haven't really, I mean, I was gaining a bunch like over here, but yeah, I really wasn't doing a whole lot of trading and stuff like that. See, I've owned some stuff for like quite a while now, and so yeah, I really do apologize about that. I've just had so much shit that I've had to do recently that only now I've had some time to be able to actually sit down and go over some stuff that's been going on in the economy lately. And speaking of the economy has been going fucking crazy. Tons of items have been getting ridiculous raises. I mean, if you're like a new beginner trader, like, it's going to be really painful to get expensive items such as like poison, chicken, block C, a bunch of stuff that's just becoming extremely expensive. Like, I mean extremely expensive. So yeah, it really sucks for new traders right now. I've been doing this for a long while, so I've kind of come prepared. Not necessarily, I mean, items like Winter Fairy just pulling tons, but yeah, we'll explain that more in my next trading video that I will release sometime in the future. But as of right now, I just wanted to talk about the new limiteds that have came out recently and some special videos and stuff like that. So I have a few points to talk about, so let's get to the first one. Alright, so obviously we had the mega hunt happen like, a few weeks ago, and we had 6 items go limited during that event, all of which look super cool and whatnot. I'm kind of excited to talk about all of these and just review them and give you my thoughts on what I think of them and whatnot. Personally, I think all these items were made really well, and I'm pretty happy they made them all. The only sad thing is that none of these items did good. The only one that did good was the hair, and it only did good by like a small margin, not as good as like Snowflake Eyes or Frosty Fedora or like, RSFS. Or RSFS is projected right now, so ignore that. But yeah, but like I said, we had a bunch of really cool images, probably the best looking items we've had so far made during an event. I mean, these items were pretty cool, but like these were pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of effort put into these. I don't even care if UGC creators made these, as long as they're uploaded to the main account and made as tradable stuff. That's all that really matters to me. I don't care who makes them as long as they're uploaded, to the main account to be able to create these. But yeah, super really cool items, and we'll go ahead and give them a more in-depth look. Starting off with the first item to go limited was this Crystallized Power Mask CPM. Kind of just starting to call it that right now, and it's this really cool looking item. Okay, the reason I like this item a lot is because it reminds me of the Darkest series. Okay, the Darkest series is a series of these 2 items that are limited, and they kind of look like this. So it's the Darkest Archmage, Darkest Alchemist, and this item kind of reminds me of that. There's other of these like weird looking items that have like these horns that interconnect, like Supreme Dark Mage or Dwarven Healing Warrior, stuff that looks like that. This kind of reminds me of those items, and I just really like it. Me personally, I really like this item. I think it looks super cool. The design is really awesome. The texture looks pretty cool. Like, I think this thing is really awesome. Okay, this thing was 750. Right now it's selling about 200 underneath that, so it kind of sucks for this item, and it really wasn't that much above that, and it's kind of just died down. About 10,000 people, almost 11,000 people bought this thing, but it was a pretty cool item. I did invest in this, made a bit from it, so I was pretty happy about this item. Really good looking item in my opinion. Alright, the next item was a bit of a shocker, not for the idea that you might think. Well, you might know the idea. You might notice the fact that we have obviously the hollow Vestiges here. Not only the fact that it kind of looks like the fairies, and unfortunately no, it does not have the particle effect unfortunately, but the fact that it is a limited U, which is well, that's pretty interesting considering the fact that we haven't had a real limited U since Undead went limited. And well, Undead like finally went limited, and you know, Gold Clockworks, but Gold Clockworks wasn't even a real limited U, and then ESTC finally became tradable, and that technically was a limited U. But yeah, we had this item, it went limited, and it actually was given the limited U status. Now the thing to note about this is that this was not released like a normal limited U. It was only released on a 24-hour timer, went off sale, and then went limited. And for some reason, bunch of people were shocked to see that it was given the limited U tag, which means it was serialized. So you can see that there's actually serials on this thing, which is really cool, but it was also pretty unexpected. But it was super weird, and I guess what happened is that the fact is that they actually created this into a hardcore 2.0 limited, which basically means when it went limited, yes, it had the limited U just like Gold Clockwork headphones, but it was not tradable. So a bunch of people, including me, were a little bit ticked off, but people posted on dev forum and they eventually made this thing tradable. But a side effect of that is that it has serials, which is kind of cool, but it's not even a real limited U considering it was not released with a stock of 4,800 or 4,900. It was released on a 24-hour timer, and just that amount of people decided to buy that. So yeah, they kind of screwed up on this one, but they were willing to fix it, so I was pretty happy about that. This one was doing pretty good as well. This thing was originally like, this thing was 1,500. Oh yeah, this thing was 1,500. It was doing pretty good actually, not too bad, but then it's kind of died down since then. So yeah, this kind of reminds me of Winter Fairy, but unfortunately there's no effect on it. By the way, none of these items have special effects or PBR or anything like that. So yeah, a bit sad, but it does look really nice. So I was pretty happy to see this one become an item, and that went limited. So yeah, let's move on to the next one, which I guess Roblox didn't learn their mistake because they did the same exact thing with this hair accessory. They made it into a hardcore 2.0 limited, which came with the unintended side effect of it not being tradable, but also having serials. So 6,000 people decided to buy this item, and as you can see, it has serials on it, which is pretty cool. But again, this was not a normal limited U, and it came with the side effect since they accidentally made it into a hardcore 2.0 limited that you could not trade it. And so yeah, this is the only item that has done good. There's been a bunch of people mass buying it like really high, and so it's been going up and it's been like fluctuating and whatnot. And I think the reason this thing has been doing so good is because, like, for most of you that are not aware, we do not have a lot of what you call limited hairs on the platform. And matter of fact, we have not had a hair released for a very long time, okay? This Lost Boy of Winter was last released in 2018, okay? Then, when we started having new limiteds in 2022, Taggy went limited, which was the only hair to go limited. You might be talking about, well, what about this Elton John hair? This was a sponsored limited, so yes, it's a hair, but it was a sponsored limited, so it wasn't even like an old off-sale one. And then, literally 2 years later, we finally get a new hair, and it happens to be an anime hair, which, you know, I guess anime is pretty, you know, popular and stuff like that, so people really like this. There are actually a few different kinds of anime hairs that you can get that are available as limiteds. I think the most interesting one is Burning Otaku, which nobody really seems to care too much about. And then I guess you could say like an item like Psy Anime is considered that, but honestly I have no idea. But yeah, there's Burning Otaku, but that one's never been hyped up or anything like that. But yeah, now we have this one, which honestly could potentially get value in the future just because it's a very interesting item, and it kind of reminds me of like the swoosh hair and stuff like that. But yeah, so we have not had a hair go limited for an extremely long time. This one, to say the least, I've never been interested in anime to begin with, but this is a really cool item. I do really like this a lot, so yeah, pretty solid item. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, and then they finally learned their mistake. They did not make it into a limited U like last time. They made it into a normal tradable limited, and it was, you know, pretty good and whatnot. But this one is probably my least favorite, and it's not because the fact it looks bad. The fact is that I don't understand what this is supposed to be. It kind of looks like this, like I guess, you know, you got like a cut or something, you have like something voidy coming out of you. I don't really know. The item looks good. I just not entirely sure how to wear this item. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not a big fan of this one, but it does look really nice. And it was, I think it was like 1,000 or something like that. And yeah, it was only at 1,000. Now it's died down to like 700. Not really doing good. But the item does look good nevertheless. Let's move on to the next one. The next one was a very interesting one. This is the Subspace Trip Mine Wings, which obviously plays off of the extremely popular gear, the Subspace Trip Mine itself. This one has a more red coloration to it, and they decided to make it into a pair of wings, which is a very weird thing to do, but for some reason, this kind of turned out to be alright. I actually kind of like this item. It's pretty nice. I like the fact that it just looks really like, I don't know how to explain it, like super electrical and whatnot. I just really like this item a lot. I've really liked the theme of the items that they released during the event, and yeah, this one was also pretty good. This one was kind of expensive. I'm pretty sure it was like 2,500 or something, somewhere around that range, and unfortunately it's not done good. Despite that, it's been doing very poorly like most other items. But yeah, the Subspace Strip Mine Wings, pretty cool. I do really like these items a lot. And let's move on to the last item, and the last item was the Proloom sword pack. Okay, so this one I also really like. Some people have been saying this item looks ugly and whatnot. Even Highly Wanted says that he doesn't like this item. Honestly, I gotta disagree. I think this item looks super cool. I know it's a little bit weird, but it kind of reminds me of like a classic sword that's been kind of like modernized into this weird void kind of type sword. I kind of wish it was just one sword and not a sword pack, but they decided to go with that. And yeah, Proloom sword pack. I think it looks really nice. It was $4 grand, and unfortunately it just died off immediately. And yeah, I feel really bad for this item, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. Unfortunately, did not come with a special effect whatsoever. It's just kind of a sword pack that's just kind of there, and so it'll probably have a decent demand as it just continues to exist. But yeah, not anything too special, but I was pretty happy that this thing released, so yeah. Alright y'all, the next thing I want to talk about is yesterday was Good Friday, and on Good Friday we just so happened to have something pretty cool happen. The Infinite Vault Star Glasses finally went limited. Now, I say finally, that's a little bit misleading because we got to talk about these things to begin with. So first of all, what were these things? So the Vault Star Glasses was these pair of shades that was available during the first hunt. Okay, the hunt, the first edition, butchering that like fucking crazy. But yeah, the hunt, the first edition, we had a bunch of items. Okay, now only 3 of those items actually ended up going limited, and those were the 3 items right here: Vault Sword Pack, VAC, and VGW. The first item that actually released was the Star Glasses. They were available for $1 grand, and there was a bunch of other items that were available. I'm pretty sure we can just go ahead, go here to the catalog, go down to all items, and then if we search up Vault, we'll see a bunch of those items, yeah, right here. So, or we could just, yeah, whatever, scroll. I mean, it's not all of them, but it's a good majority of them, that's for sure. But as you can see, you know, we had a bunch of these items, right? We had the Ninja's Hood, Hollow Visor, Infinite Visor, Cloak, Respirator, Mempo Mask, and there was a bunch of other items, right? This is only like half of them. And the first item to actually release were these Star Glasses. Now, the thing with this is that when they released it, the UI said that this item was limited. It just said limited exclamation mark. It did not say limited time. So a bunch of people thought this would actually be going limited because we hadn't had a limit for a long time. So people were like, well, I'm pretty sure it could go limited, but I'm not entirely sure. So roughly 10,000 people decided that it would maybe be going limited. So they took their risk and spent $1 grand on this thing. Keep in mind, these items were really expensive. Okay, the cheapest one was this lamp, and it was 500. The rest of these were above 500, 600, 900, 700, 800, $1 grand, 1,900, and then we're not even gonna talk about VAC, the sword pack, and VGW. Okay, VAC was 40 grand. Vault Sword Pack was like, what? How much was this thing? It was like 35 grand, something like that. And then VGW was like 16 grand. Okay, these items were incredibly expensive. And 10,000 people bought this thing hoping this would go limited. And after that, they started correcting it. So they actually labeled VAC and these two as limiteds, while the rest of these, they labeled them as limited time only. However, people started arguing with the fact that they thought that this one would at least go limited. So on the developer forums, which I'm actually active on, a bunch of people were arguing that. Roblox said that they would look into it, and a month later they finally decided to just cave into the discussion at hand, and they decided to make this thing go limited. And so pretty happy about this one because, I mean, obviously it's another limited, and all those 10,000 people, or at least a good amount of them, will be able to sell this item like they originally intended to, and they're making a good profit after doing that. Clearly you can see the item's doing not too shabby for being $1 grand. But yeah, the item's doing pretty good right now. And yeah, so it took literally a year for them to decide to make this thing go limited, so pretty happy about that. The item itself looks nice. I mean, obviously, you know, the items from the hunt weren't that great. At least all the paid items weren't that great. But the thing to note about this one in particular is that this is the 5th or 6th item that's tradable that has a PBR texture on it, the surface appearance things. The other ones being the other former vault items that are currently limiteds. And then obviously gold clockwork headphones, which we'd have to go over here to look up. And we go to newest. Yeah, gold clockworks has a PBR, and then ESTC also has a PBR, but it is tradable. And then obviously the other two are currently not tradable yet. I'm talking about, where the heck are they? I mean, I can't find them. I guess y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the glossy red baseball cap and the shiny bling. Those also have PBRs, but they are currently not tradable because their stocks have not sold out. Because for some reason, they decided to unexhaust their stock. I'm not entirely sure how to say it. So yeah, they're going to have to sell out before they can be tradable. Oh, and the Tate McRae pilotlings also have a PBR. I completely forgot about that one, yeah. But yeah, so the Vault Star glasses have finally gone limited, and you know, this item was not supposed to go limited. Matter of fact, it was not supposed to go limited, but because of the misleading thing on it, and so many people decided to buy it because of that, I think Roblox felt obligated to at least recompensate the people by doing that. And by doing that, they had to make this thing go limited, and so now it's limited. And if you want to own a pair of star glasses, which I think looks nice, I think this is probably the best looking hunt limited we've had from the first edition, just because it looks better than the other three. But yeah, not too shabby. It's got a PBR texture. The only thing about it is that it's like moved from your head a little bit too far, but you can easily correct that by just scaling whatever axis to the right a little bit, and it'll be completely fine. But yeah, pretty cool item. Let's move on to the last thing that I want to talk about. Okay guys, and the last thing I want to talk about in this video are potential items that could be going limited in the future and which ones you can get your hands on right now. So I'm currently on Dev Forum, which is like probably one of the busiest places I've been on recently, just because there's been so much hype around items going limited because of Dev Forum, because people have been using Dev Forum to convince Roblox that some items should be going limited, and that has worked because, you know, Tate McRae went limited because of the Dev Forum, the Vault Star glasses went limited because of the Dev Forum, Hollow Vestiges and the anime hair were fixed from not tradable to tradable because of Dev Forum, and Dev Forum has corrected a bunch of things that has honestly made the trading community so much better. They even made gold clockworks tradable, they made the other 3 items tradable. You know what I'm talking about, okay? So yeah, Dev Forum I've been active on pretty a lot, just because of the fact that they've been actually super useful on there, and they've been making a lot of items go limited that should, and they've been correcting a bunch of stuff. So I wanted to spend this time to talk about items that could potentially be going limited in the soon near future. Okay, starting off with a bunch of items that were taken off sale in 2022, around the time when we were getting a bunch of limited. So I want to talk about that really quickly. Okay guys, you guys remember that in 2022, you know, they obviously started doing new limiteds. Obviously they started off with Sinister S. I actually happened to own this item, and it made like 100 grand that day in May of 2022, and they were making a bunch of items go limited and stuff like that. And after the 4th of July sale, well, it really wasn't a sale, but like during the 4th of July of 2022, they made a bunch of items go limited, and then after that they started doing something a little bit interesting. Okay, so they started taking popular on sale items off sale, and then a few days later they would make them limited. So the first one they did was the back axe guitar. So there's a light one and a dark one, so they took the dark one off sale, and a few days later this one became limited. So an on sale to off sale to limited. They did the same exact thing with the shoulder shark cat, the broken TV, the mustache, the pixels bandana, UV, glorious unicorn, business cat, you know, from Dennis Daily, rainbow phones, blib, pizza bandit, royal rabbit ears, frozen sword pack, and lastly the starry sleeping cap. So as you've seen so far, all these items that I've brought up were pretty cheap and really popular. I mean, tons of people bought these items. You can see 44,000, 58,000, 63,000, 226,000, 200,000, 100 grand, or sorry, 100,000, 86,000, you know, 210,000, 71, 71, 71, wow, 71, that's crazy, and 111,000 and 120,000. So these items were really popular. They had tons of copies, and for some reason they were making them limited. They were taking off sale, whether they were doing testing or whatnot. They were taking these items off sale and making them limited. Now, as it turns out, some of these items went off sale but never went limited. So let's go ahead and talk about these items. So the back axe guitar was taken off sale and made limited in like what is that, July the 7th, right? July the 7th. and there were some items that were taken off sale but never made limited. And so a dev forum post was made not too long ago in February, around the same time the Vault Star Shades was made in a dev forum post for them petitioning for those to go limited. And it was this post talking about these specific items that went off sale. And I do vividly remember this because I was trading back in 2022. All right, back in 2022, I was pretty close, I think, to 2 million value. It was really cool. But yeah, those specific items here are listed here: Thug Bandana, Green Boa, Cool Bunny, Lightning Crown, Flatwood's Frightful Hood, and Restless Souls Bandana. Now we're going to split this into two separate things. We're going to split this into Thug Bandana and Green Boa, and then we're going to divide these four right here into their own little section, because I want to talk about these items really quickly. All right, but I made a post right down here explaining when they went off sale. So whatchamacallit, so all these items went off sale on July 8th, July 13th, and July 15th, all right? And then the Thug Bandana and Green Boa went off sale on the 6th of July. And despite that, none of these items went limited. So they were all made off sale around the same exact time, but for some reason these items were not made limited. Okay, so as you can see, there's some YouTube videos that have been made on these items. You can see Green Boa and Thug Bandana, and then these four right here. As you can see the Shark Shoulder Cats here, but that went limited. And you can see the Back Axe Guitar and the Snow Leopard Fedora, those are also limited. So let's go ahead and dive a little bit deeper into these items. So the first two I want to talk about is the Thug Bandana and the Green Boa. Now the reason I want to talk about these two is because these items, compared to the other four that we'll be talking about, are actually popular, okay? So as you can see here, the Thug Bandana has almost 35,000 favorites, while the Green Boa has almost 21,000 favorites. These were very popular items, but for some reason they never went limited. And a personal favorite of mine is actually Thug Bandana. I think this looks super awesome. Like, this item looks super cool. I really like this item a lot, and it's a shame that it was taken off sale but never made limited. So obviously this post was put there because we all thought that, you know, Roblox may have accidentally forgot to make them limited. So we're still waiting, because there was actually a reply to this right here from this staff themselves, who is currently still active, on the 4th of February, saying, "Thank you for the report. This is an acknowledgement message. We have assigned this to our team for further review." They did the same exact thing with the Vault Star Shades, and those just went limited yesterday, okay? But yeah, so the Thug Bandana and the Green Boa, in my opinion, do deserve to go limited, like, for sure, because these items were pretty popular, and I'm imagining that they forgot to make these limited, not just keep them off sale, because there's really no reason to have like taken these things off sale to begin with. So not entirely sure why, but I am definitely hoping for these two to at least go limited. Okay, and then the four other items that went off sale are these four. Now the reason I split them off from the other two is because these items, unlike the other two, are not popular by any means necessary. So we have the Cool Bunny here. This one only has 2,400 favorites. We have the Lightning Crown, which only has 600 favorites. The Souls Bandana, which, okay, I guess this one is definitely popular. I mean, this one has 16,000. And then the Flatwood's Frightful Hood, which is actually a really broken accessory, but this one only has 1,800. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about these ones. I mean, I guess the Restless Souls is pretty popular, but still, only 16,000. I feel like, you know, the other ones have a lot more, but I mean, this one's close to Green Boa, so, you know, maybe this one could definitely be included. But yeah, these ones were taken off sale around the same time that all this other stuff was going on. So I'd imagine that maybe they were going to make these ones go limited as well, but they kind of just forgot, or they were doing some tests, or something else, because I'm not entirely sure. So we were hoping that, you know, that they would be willing to make these four items limited as well, okay? So looking at these items, I mean, I really don't like Cool Bunny, but it would still be cool to see this thing go limited. And then we have this thing, which kind of reminds me of the Ice Crown, Fire Crown series, but it's kind of more of like a headband with lightning bolts on it, though it does look not too shabby. I think it looks not too bad at all. Then we have this thing, which I think looks super cool. I would absolutely love to own this thing, and so yeah. And then we have the Flatwood's Frightful Hood, which, like I already said, it's a very broken item. It's like misaligned and stuff like that. And yeah, so I wasn't entirely sure how. I think the item looks cool. It's just super broken. But yeah, this one was also taken off sale. But yeah, I just wanted to bring this up to you guys, that these 6 items may be potentially going limited soon because of this dev forum post talking about these items. So if you own them, they could be potentially going limited soon. Now the chance of them going limited is significantly lower than the Vault Star Shades, and significantly lower than the Tate McRae Wings, but there is still a chance they may decide to just make these items go limited, because 1, why were they taken off sale? And 2, the rest of the items went limited, but these ones for some reason not. So hoping that these items would actually go limited. Would be cool to see that. That would be 6 more items. That would be like awesome. And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the last item I wanted to talk about. Alright, the last item I want to talk about actually has a really high chance of actually going limited, and that is the horns of the creature. So this item in specific was actually a actual limited. However, it was a limited U, and unfortunately, like one of the final limited U's, it did break, and Roblox just simply gave up on this item, okay? And so back in February, someone made this post saying item needs to go limited. I know it says closed, but some people have been chatting this recently, making it kind of hopeful that this item actually could go limited. But yeah, and also like quoting like other items that have gone limited recently. But the horns of the creature was an item with like 666 copies and was an actual limited view. Like it had a limited tag attached to it, and it even has its own Roymon's profile as an actual limited. It's right here, horns of the creature. It's been tracked since October of 2018. And yeah, it's currently, you still can get this item. I believe you can get it. I mean, the copy says that nobody has gotten it since 2020, which I'm not entirely sure if that's just because of all of these serialized copies that are gone. So I imagine people are still able to get this thing, but I absolutely have no idea. I've not tried purchasing it myself. I do have almost 8,000, so I've been debating whether or not I want to buy this or not. Just not sure of how this item would do if that happened. But as you can see, the last copy, or at least the last serialized copy, was obtained 4 years ago, or at least none of these are serialized for some reason. But yeah, but regardless, this post was made and it was recently updated, and this item actually has a good chance to go limited because people have talked about items that did have their limited status revoked, such as the Gingerbread Immortal Sword and the Hive Mind Faberge Egg, and those have gone limited recently, okay? Not too long ago, okay? Hive Mind and Gingerbread both went limited during the 2022 season, and we still have Horns of the Creature, but it is available as an on-sale item. And so 2 months later, VAC9 posted this saying that if they need proof of this, yeah, we've been tracking it since October 27, 2018. So if you do want to cop the Horns of the Creature, go feel free to, because this item actually could be going limited pretty soon. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure why the post is closed. There hasn't been a single response to this thing since this. But yeah, just wanted to let you guys know about that. Alright, y'all, I want to thank you so much for watching this new Limiteds video. Hopefully you joined, hopefully you learned something new. And yeah, I appreciate y'all watching this, and sorry so much for like being gone for like a long period of time. But yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys later. Peace.